Welcome back to Insight Builder channel. Loading data demystified. 4 ways of reading data into Spark SQL. Let the files do all the work in the cluster, not you. The challenge at hand. You are provided a data which is in different kinds of format. It could be text, it could be Excel format, or whatever it is. You have to load it into the cluster. Second, the data could have come from a different cluster altogether, and it could be in multiple files, and you might be wondering, okay, how am I going to load all these files into the cluster? You will be surprised that how easy it is. We'll be working on spark.read.parquet CSV methods. We'll be working on the catalog and create table method. You'll be seeing the purpose of MSCK repair command. All these things from Kaggle environment. You might be surprising how Kaggle environment is going to help me learn Spark and big data concepts. You actually don't need to own a big data cluster to actually learn Spark. The PySpark environment, the PySpark library can be loaded into Kaggle notebooks, and from also the Kaggle notebooks contains the data sets. This can be linked together, and you can learn a lot of things right from the browser itself. So that is what we are going to do in this video. So if you are new to this video, I would suggest that take a look at my playlists in the channel, and you can take a look at this video, this series of videos where I upload all the data related to big data clusters. That said, guys, let me get back to the presentation. We'll be following this process. Most of my videos in the taking the cluster for a spin will involve this format where I start from the data, load it, discuss the commands, and then troubleshoot the issues. This is the format I follow, and the notebook link will be shared with you guys. Get yourself signed up into Kaggle, and then you can start editing the notebook. As I repeat, there is no need of real cluster to learn the DML commands and the DDL commands that we are going to use today inside the Spark environment. You can use it using the Kaggle environment itself. The idea of the intention of providing you the Kaggle notebooks along with the data sets and the code is for you guys to practice. This actually makes the life of new learners way more easier, since the data sets as well as the code is attached together, so you don't need to search for the data sets. And second thing, the code is also streamlined along with the data that is provided there. Initially, to work with the code, it's way more easier, but I am not going to make your life easy. I'm going to make your life interesting. How? Let me show you. If you do like the video, do leave a like and subscribe to my channel for further updates on big data as well as various other topics like Linux, LangChain, large language models, and Python. Going back to the browser, let me go to the Kaggle environment. This is the Kaggle notebook that you'll be using, and I'm going to run you through this notebook. The main point I wanted to highlight here is that I'm going to show you and explain to you certain key aspects that you have to understand in this notebook. Okay, first and foremost, the data set. So the data set is available right here. You can actually see that for yourself. I will be using a couple of data here. I'll be using this sales.csv and firstfile.csv. You are not restricted to use those files. You can actually try something else altogether by forking this notebook. Ensure that once you open this notebook in your environment, it becomes your notebook, right? Whatever you change it there, it is actually reflecting in your environment only. It is not going to change this particular link that you are going to open it. So don't worry if something goes wrong. Okay, so you can always click on the link that is provided in the YouTube description and you can get this notebook back. If you are a seasoned data engineer and if you are watching this, please bear with me because I am explaining it in such a way that that you are new to this entire industry of data and data analysis. So I hope that you guys will understand what I'm trying to do. In this case, let us go back to the notebook. I have started the Spark session. I have installed the PySpark here. You need to install PySpark. PySpark does not come by default installed in Kaggle notebooks. Kaggle notebook is a Docker environment, so you can execute Linux commands in that. You'll be seeing it in a couple of minutes. And in fact, I have an entire series where I teach Linux right out of Kaggle notebooks. So take a look at that. You'll be surprised that, okay, can you learn Linux from Kaggle inside Jupyter Notebook? Yes, you can. Take a look at my playlist. You'll find it out. Let us get back into the read CSV process here. So basically, I'm using the read.csv method and reading the sales.csv file. So you can understand what is going on here. There is two folders in Kaggle. There is Kaggle/input and there is /Kaggle/working. Inside Kaggle, only /Kaggle./working is writable by you. Rest of the folders are not writable by you. I'm repeating, not writable by you. Okay, so you don't need to worry that you will actually mess up this data set. It's not going to get messed up. So I'm going to create databases. Databases inside the Spark environment are just folders. Okay, I'm going to just run through these things fast. Okay, and you see that I'm partitioning it and I'm print schema. These things I explained in the earlier videos. I'm just showing it to you guys that I'll be using this particular column to partition the data. This particular video is about loading the data, not about saving or writing the data. But why are we doing it here? Because we are speaking about two challenges. One challenge is that we are getting the format from the real world messy data, and another challenge is that you are getting the data from a different cluster. So when you're going to get the data from different cluster, someone must have written it from that cluster, correct? So we cannot actually go and search for some data set that is written by someone else and then load it. That is not the way which is repeatable. So what I thought that, okay, let us load the data and then let us write the data ourselves in the same particular notebook, so you can actually understand what is going on. So going back to the browser, see, there are hundreds of ways to teach, and this is one of the ways where I felt that, you will be working in a team, and you have to actually mimic that. Okay, you are the developer, you are the big data engineer, you are the business leader. You need to actually mimic what their requirements are, and you need to think from their perspective. How will you do that? By actually going and asking them. So how did I know? You might be wondering, Kamal, how did you know that, okay, the guys in the big data team will be writing the table using this format? Okay, I don't know that. So I go and ask them. So what happens is when I'm discussing, when I'm watching other videos, when I am researching about this, then I start getting the intuition. So when you are also working, you need to have that same motivation, that you need to understand what the other guys are doing. So what is your front end guys are doing? What is your back end guys are doing? What you are as a data engineer doing? When you have those kind of objective for a specific reason, then you will start learning faster. Okay, you might be thinking, okay, why are you thinking like this, Kamal? You have to just teach us how to load the table, right? Or read the table or read the data set. No, I am primarily targeting to make you as a proper engineer, a proper big data engineer who can work with customers, internal and external, both, and also can teach the management. The most important thing is to explain the concepts to the management why you want something. This is way more important than actually understanding what Python does or what the Spark table does. Most of us miss this point, and this way of thinking actually changes your perspective drastically. Okay, once you decide, okay, and you have to be a teacher, guys. If you think, okay, if you are a developer, you are not going to teach anybody, remove that from your mind. Okay, you have to keep on learning and you keep on teaching others so that your life can be way more easier. Now that I'm going to write this as a table so that I can get the partitioning done, and then I'm going to use show tables. You can see that here. You might be wondering that, Kamal, what will happen if I do the partition by GMV? What will happen is that, first of all, let us see how many distinct GMV elements are there. So I'm running this select distinct GMV from sales partition, and you'll see there are lots of distinct, and also you'll see there is an empty space also. This is null value. Okay, and when you describe the sales partition, you can also see that the column name on which it is partition is GMV. Okay, you can see all these things. So I am doing the same thing but with a different file, and I am also doing it with respect to sales name and GMV new in the first file.csv. I'm doing the same thing. Okay, I'm just creating the files here, two different files. And all this file, so sales partition is actually a folder, and inside the folder you will see that there are lots of folders with the GMV elements. You saw the GMV elements here, right? The same elements will be created as folders here. So this is how the partition works. So if you take any one of the folders and if you do an ls on top of it, so these are all Linux commands that I'm running, and if you do an ls on top of it, you will see that there are Parquet files inside that. This is what I was telling you. So if the other guys are going to give you a list of Parquet files inside the folder, and if you're going to use Python to do a recursive load of this file, I'm telling you, that is where you are losing your activity. You are not actually working as a data engineer, because you actually don't need to use Python here. You have to use Spark. How are you going to use Spark? We will be seeing it. So I am giving you some more commands here. So forget about the ways of doing it. And inside the sale trimmed partition, this is another file, another table that I created, trimmed sales partition with two partition columns, sales name and GMV new. So this will create recursive columns. So this will first create the sales underscore names. It will create sales underscore name folders, and inside each of these sales underscore name folders, you will have GMV new. So that is called as multiple partitioning. So it will create recursive partitioning inside each other. So that is what I'm showing here. Just take a look at it, you will understand, okay, what is going on. I can actually show it to you in the GUI here also, but I'm not going to do that. I primarily use command line most of the time. The reason is, once you use command line, there are two benefits. You will not leave your keyboard. Second benefit, you will be able to automate it very fast. Once you are able to work with command line in your regular day-to-day activities, automating becomes way more easier. So try it out, guys. And finally, I'm going to use third way. So this is the third one. There are multiple ways the data engineers can give you data. Okay, so you should be knowing how to work with them, right? So this is the third way I'm creating it. And yeah, explaining all these things took me around why is this firing out trimmed underscore sales, what is the error? Table bucketed sales already exists because I've already created it. So okay, so you see that inside the bucketed tables you are not getting any folders here, but it is simply files. So it is still formatted, it is still created using the sales name as buckets, and the folders are created, the files are created. This just creates files actually. Okay, and now what we are going to do is, you have these files here and we are going to read these files. This is our actual agenda. Okay, I had to give you the background of this. If you want to have an in-detail discussion or understanding of how to save files, the earlier video in this playlist will actually show it to you. I will tag it along here. Okay, now what I'm going to do is, there are multiple ways to read the file. First way is to actually not even create a table, just use the folder directly. So you see that select star from Parquet, and I'm using this backtick here. This backtick is below the tilde key. It is in the tilde key. If you don't know where is the tilde key, just inside on your keyboard on the left to your number 1. So you will see that this backtick. So you need to use that, and you have to use this path. And if you start doing a select, you will directly start querying the bucketed sales. Okay, so if you this is the power of working with big data. So you don't need to even give the Parquet files that is inside the folder. The Spark SQL understands that, okay, so inside this folder there are a couple of files, I need to query that. So that is the power of Spark. So this is something that I wanted to show you guys, and even I was surprised when I could do all these things. Okay, so I wanted to share it with you guys. Second, you can read the Parquet file one by one also if you want to, which I wouldn't suggest, but you can actually check this out. The best way is to read the entire folder. So you see that this folder has these many Parquet files, and all I need to do is that give the Parquet folder path. That's it. So it reads the Parquet folder and you get all the data here, and you can show the data also. You will see that the data is available. These are all using read.parquet or read.csv methods. Actually, there is one more way where you can directly read the folders into the Spark catalog itself. If you are new to Spark and if you don't know what is a catalog or what is Spark Metastore, how these metastores are linking with the regular outside world, I would suggest, really seriously suggest that take a look at my earlier videos where I discuss in detail about Metastore, and you will understand, come to speed really fast. Okay, take a look at that. Here I am creating a table. This is actually a Spark table, and I'm creating a table Parquet bucketed, and I'm going to give the location of the folder, and this will create the table, and it will be linking, this table will linked with the this bucketed underscore sales folder. So how will I know that? By using the command. So if I use describe format bucketed, so if I execute this, you will see that at the bottom you will see where is the location. So this particular location is actually inside the working folder. Let me actually remove the, let me show that. If you see that here, if I make it false, and if you, now you'll see the entire route. So you see this particular route. So this is the route that we are having. So this is what I was telling you guys, that it is a very interesting way, and you can learn a lot right out of the Kaggle environment itself. And this is another way where you can actually create the table by using the SQL commands, the create table command manually. However, you can do it, you cannot do it inside this Kaggle environment. You need a Hive environment for doing this. So I have anyway put it, I have mentioned this here, and I have given you the method, because if you are having the big data environment, you can use it and experiment with this also, right? And now we are actually going to one thing which is very important. See, we had actually partitioned the table. You remember the sales underscore partition I explained? When I am going to create a catalog, create a table inside the Spark catalog, what will happen is I can create a partition table directly. So if someone gives you the folder which is like this, so which is series of multiple folders, so which is like this, so it's trimmed sales partition, inside that you have multiple folders, and inside each of these folders you will have many folders. Okay, if someone gives it to you and you are not going to run the Python loop to go into each of these folders and take the Parquet file and read it, that is not how it works. All you need to do is use the Spark catalog.create table, and you are going to create the partition table directly. So initially I was not knowing this, and not many are actually touching this point directly. So what is happening is that people think, okay, big data is really big. Actually, no, it is actually very small. Once you understand what is going on, you will actually start, you will in fact do everything through big data method. Because you see right now I am using Spark Kaggle environment, but I am working on big data related activity, and my work is actually simplified. So I will explain to you that, see, I have created a table underscore Parquet underscore GMV, right? So I am going to show you the tables. So you see that Parquet underscore GMV, and if I right now, when you are actually executing this, when you are going to do a select here, you will find an empty table. You might be surprised. See, Kamal actually cheated us. Hold on, Kamal did not cheat you. You should use msck repair table command to repair this new table. Once you repair it, then if you do the select, the partition would have actually loaded the data. So all the data will be loaded inside the partition, and you can see the data. And believe me, once you do this, right, actually I have explained other things also. So you can show the partition, you can see all the details, and you can actually do it with CSV file also. The one challenge with CSV file is, when you are going to load the CSV file, the folder which is containing the information. So for an example, the folder contains the information of GMV equal to 0, this partition information, right? This partition information will not come when you are working with read or writing the CSV. So keep this in mind. Okay, so when you are going to read CSV, we need to use a different method. Okay, I'll be taking it in a separate video, because I want to keep the video short. I have used this format, but I have given you various other additional steps that you can follow with CSV files. This anyway, you cannot execute these things. This is only for your reference. I have put it here, but my explanation actually ends with this this partition table loading. Let us go to the presentation back. So you saw that today how to work with multiple formats. So CSV file to Parquet, and how to load and how to create data in the way you can actually simulate someone giving the data from the different cluster. You did both of that. You worked on these commands and you understood MSCK repair and all these things you did in Kaggle. And I hope that you will start practicing regularly, and you will like this video, and do share it with others. Subscribe to my channel so that you will get further updates on not only big data, you will get updates on Python libraries, LangChain, and various other large language model artificial intelligence information. With this, guys, I would like to take a leave, and with 4 words as usual: practice, 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 practice.